The prairie was quiet that evening, the kind of quiet that presses against a man's ears and makes him feel the weight of his own heartbeat. Jack Callahan leaned against the porch post of his weather-beaten farmhouse, the setting sun bleeding orange across the horizon. Dust clung to his boots, his hat brim was shadowed low over his eyes, and his face was a map of grief carved deep from years of loss. Just 2 years had passed since he buried Mary, his wife and only true love, on the hill overlooking their land. He had dug her grave with his own hands, the shovel biting into hard soil while his heart broke with every thrust. When he laid her down, he swore on that barren mound of earth that he would never love again, never let another woman close enough to carve open his chest the way Mary had. Love was weakness, he told himself, and weakness had no place for a man who lived with cattle, storms, and the hard cruelty of the frontier. For 2 years his house had been empty, the air thick with silence. Nights stretched long, haunted by memories of Mary's laughter and the smell of bread she used to bake. Jack spoke to no one but his horses, and the occasional ranch hand who drifted through. He built walls around his heart as sturdy as any barn he had ever raised. But fate has a way of tearing down even the strongest walls. It was just after sundown when Jack heard the creak of the gate at the end of his dirt road. He frowned, straightened, and peered into the twilight. A figure was moving slowly up the path, cradling something in her arms. At first he thought his loneliness had finally made him see ghosts, because the woman's dark braid and delicate features struck him like a bullet. She looked like Mary. His chest tightened, and for a breathless moment, he thought the dead had risen. But as the figure stepped into the light spilling from his porch lamp, he realized it wasn't Mary, it was her sister, Clara. Jack hadn't seen her since the funeral, when grief and old family grudges had driven her away. She looked weary, her dress worn from travel, her face pale but her eyes steady. And in her arms was a baby, small and swaddled, its tiny hand gripping the fabric of her dress. Jack's throat went dry. "Evening, Jack," Clara said softly, her voice trembling but firm. "I need your help." Jack stared at the baby, then back at Clara. His voice was rough from disuse. "What are you doing here? And whose child is that?" Clara tightened her hold on the baby, her eyes shining with a mix of defiance and fear. "She's mine, and she's yours to protect too." The words cut through him like a brand pressed to flesh. Jack staggered back, shaking his head. "No, don't you come here with riddles. I buried my wife. I buried my future. Don't play games with me." Clara stepped closer, her boots crunching on the dry earth. The baby stirred, letting out a soft whimper, and Jack's heart twisted against his will. "Mary made me promise," Clara whispered. "Before she died, she made me promise to bring her child to you if I had no one else left. This is your daughter, Jack. Mary's blood runs in her veins." The world seemed to tilt. Jack's knees nearly buckled, and he grabbed the porch post to steady himself. His chest heaved, and for the first time in years, tears burned his eyes. He looked at the child, at the soft curls of hair, and the delicate nose that mirrored Mary's. The baby opened her eyes then, deep and dark and familiar, and Jack's heart shattered all over again. Memories flooded him, Mary's smile, her whispered dreams of a family, the way she had pressed his hand to her belly before sickness stole her strength. He had thought those dreams were buried with her. But here, on his porch, in Clara's arms, was living proof that love had not died with Mary. Anger, sorrow, and longing warred inside him. "Why didn't you come sooner?" he demanded, his voice breaking. Clara's chin quivered. "I tried to manage on my own. I didn't want to face you. Didn't want to stir up old wounds. But I can't do this alone anymore, and she deserves to know her father." Jack's hands trembled as he reached forward, hesitant, as though touching the child would burn him. But when his calloused fingers brushed the baby's cheek, something broke inside him, a dam he thought would never crack. The baby cooed softly, her tiny hand curling around his finger, and Jack felt the weight of his oath crumble to dust. He had sworn off love, sworn to never feel again, but here was love in its purest form, undeniable, innocent, demanding to be claimed. He took the baby into his arms, awkward at first, his body stiff, but as she settled against his chest, Jack felt something he hadn't in years: hope. He looked at Clara, tears streaking his dirt-stained face. "I don't know if I can be the man she needs." "I've forgotten how to live, let alone raise a child." Clara placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You don't have to be perfect, Jack. You just have to love her. And I know you can." The night air was still, but in Jack's heart a storm raged. He looked toward the hill where Mary rested, the moonlight brushing her grave in silver. For the first time, he didn't feel only grief when he thought of her. He felt her presence, urging him on, telling him to live, to protect, to love. Holding his daughter, Jack knew the truth. Mary wasn't gone. She lived on in this child, in every heartbeat, every breath, every laugh yet to come. Jack drew a deep breath, his voice firm with newfound resolve. I'll raise her. I'll protect her with everything I have. For Mary, for you, for her. The baby stirred again, her small face pressing against his chest, and Jack closed his eyes, letting the warmth of her weight anchor him. For years he had been a broken man, but tonight on this porch, with the ghost of his wife in his heart and their child in his arms, Jack Callahan was reborn.